The highest point of use downstream, no back pressure conditions, okay? Pretty simple assembly as far as the components. Got a shutoff valve number 1, test cock number 1, the body itself that houses the check valve as well as the air inlet valve. You got the number 2 shutoff valve and the number 2 test cock. And the most important thing that will bite you in the rear is this guy right here, the canopy. Notice it's on there when we start. It better be on there when you finish. That's the very, very last step. Okay? So, we're going to go ahead and run through just a very high level, properly operating pressure vacuum breaker test procedures. NEO, right? Notify, identify, inspect, and observe. Before we do anything else, we're going to remove the canopy. We're going to set it to the side where we don't forget it. We're going to bleed the test cocks. It doesn't matter which order, they just have to be bled. So bleed the number 1, bleed the number 2. Okay? Just to talk through hydraulically, if this was cut away, water's coming in, there's a check valve that the water has to overcome the check, and then it goes into the next section which closes the air inlet. There are 2 tests that we are performing on the pressure vacuum breaker. We want to verify the air inlet opening point when it actually releases from the seat. There's a second part of that. You have to verify that it is fully open. So that's test number 1, the air inlet. Test number 2 is our check valve. It is basically a double check test. We're going to attach our hose to the upstream side, and we're going to open up the downstream side to atmosphere to verify it holds at 1 or greater. So it's just like the double check, other than we added the air inlet, okay? With the pressure vacuum breaker, and I am going to do it per the exact instructions in the 10th edition. I will show you a slight deviation that is acceptable, and I like to push this approach because it creates muscle memory, okay? So, per the procedures we bled, we're going to attach this bleed off valve arrangement to the number 1 test cock. So, the variation is this. Where does the bleed-off valve arrangement go during the double check test? On the high hose, right? Until you get to the RP, this thing should never leave your high side hose. Okay? So, per the procedures, it says put it onto here. We're not testing this first. This is not where our high side hose goes. So, you can tell USC that Chris said we're not doing it that way. You're going to attach your high side hose and bleed off. Number 2. We're going to open up the number 2 test cock. Open it fully. Okay? We're going to bleed the high side. And we're going to close the high side. We're ready to isolate the assembly from the customer. We're going to close that number 2. And think about it just like the double check. What do we have to do? We don't have any other hoses, so we have to ensure that we do not let any external influences affect the hydraulics, right? So we're going to raise the gauge to the center line to the water level in the pressure vacuum breaker. Okay, so right at the top. We're going to isolate the number 1. And what is our next thing? Pause and observe. Right? Just make sure nothing's going on. Okay, nothing's going on. So with this, what we're going to do is we're going to take the water that we have trapped on the upstream side of the air inlet, and we're going to let it go to atmosphere. do that by opening up the high bleed, and all we're going to do is barely crack that open. And what we want to do is we want to observe when this air inlet starts to drop, when it actually pulls away from the seat. Best thing to do is to kind of have it right next to it so your eyesight is right there. And you want to do it in a very controlled manner. Because you see how fast it goes? Anybody see what the value was? This one is actually very, very unique. This particular station has a very high value. It's roughly about 7.5. Okay? Usually it's not that high. This one, there's something about it. I think someone put an extra heavy duty spring in there. But that's what happened, right? It pulled away at 7.5, so we're gonna put that in our box. There's a second part of that test though. Is it fully open? This is a very common place where people make errors. It's not just, yeah, it's fully open. If you look in here and you can see the top, it's still full of water, okay? Per the procedures, you remove your hose from the number 2 and allow the water to drain from the body. We're gonna take our time. We're not in a hurry. We wanna wait until that water has gone static. Boom. And then we're gonna poke our head over here. Yep. Air inlet has pulled fully away from the seat. Okay? So test number 1 is complete. It's 2 parts. Air inlet opening point and whether it's fully open. Real important. Close the number 2 test cock, otherwise you get someone wet. Next thing. This is where you take your pink gloves off your hands. No offense. This is when you do this. If you do not do that, and you take your time, not going to do it for me, huh? All right, if you take your time with the pressure vacuum breaker and you do not pop it off the seat, and as you slowly go on like that, did you see how water was coming out of it? That was pretty mild compared to what will happen to that one in there, which is even smaller, but these other ones, the whole thing about the pressure vacuum breaker is you pop it off the seat and allow it to fill the chamber, okay? Now we're going to move on to test number 2. We're going to check the tightness of the check valve. We're going to attach the lead off and the high side hose to the number 1. We're going to open up the number 1. We're going to bleed. We're going to close. And then basically we want to go to the center line of the assembly. And generally there is a mark on there that says the center line, an arrow. Make sure you're in line. You're going to isolate. How did we check the check valve on the double check? What did we do to the downstream test cock? We opened it up to atmosphere, right? Here's our downstream test cock. We're going to open that up and let it bleed and go dry. And we want a value of 1 or greater. So we are sitting at about 2 and change, but we still have water flowing out. We'll let it go dry, or no more than a broken drip. And we're at about 2.2. So my air inlet opened at 7.5, which again, it's a very, very high number. Every time they come down here, they go, "Are you sure that's right?" It fully opened. It has to be 1 or greater. Our check valve is at 2.2, has to be 1 or greater. Did this vacuum breaker pass or fail? Pass. Done. Close up the test box.